Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Church at Home for Friday, January the 8th, 2021, this first Friday in Epiphany Tide. This morning, I had sort of planned last night that I would talk about something silly or frivolous or something lighthearted and get our minds off all of the stuff that's happening in the world around us. And through the night, and as I woke this morning, I realized that if I was to do that, I would be satisfying my own soul and not doing what I believe that I am called to do. You see, we are called as Christians to recognize that we take the good with the bad, and sometimes we are called, more often than maybe we would like to realize, to simply be present in the difficult things. Some of you have maybe gone through most of your life and had very few tough spots to be in, very few times when you have wondered, where is God present? How is this happening to me? Where is the help? Where is the peace that passes all understanding? I just can't find it. A lot of people seem to walk through their lives and never have a Job kind of moment. But the reality is they're there. We all have them. And we need to be able to face them. And as Christians, modeling for others how to get through difficult times, it's important that we understand them ourselves and not run away from them. The Bible is full of lament. The Bible is filled with stories of people who are dealing with the difficult times, some of them recognizing that God is present and sitting with them in those times, but also some where they think that God has abandoned them. Although we know that God never abandons us, sometimes we might abandon God. Different story. Although we know God never abandons us, that doesn't mean that we always feel God's presence. And sometimes we indeed need to be present and aware to the difficulties that are going on. And so following yesterday's post and my frustration and my fears about what is happening in the United States, what I fear might someday happen in Canada, I pray that it will not. I offer you these moments today about lament. The new Bishop of Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, Bishop Sandra Boudelaire Fife, has posted on her Facebook of the following. She says, "This blessing by Jan Richardson is one I've offered at vigils following acts of violence in many parts of the world. As we consider the violence we witnessed or become aware of this week in whatever forms, I pray this blessing will offer healing and hope." So this is called Blessing When the World is Ending. Look, the world is always ending somewhere. Somewhere the sun has come crashing down. Somewhere it has gone completely dark. Somewhere it has ended with the gun, the knife, the fist. Somewhere it has ended with the slammed door, the shattered hope. Somewhere it has ended with the utter quiet that follows the news from the phone, the television, the hospital room. Somewhere it has ended with a tenderness that will break your heart. But listen, this blessing means to be anything but morose. It has not come to cause despair. It is simply here because there is nothing a blessing is better suited for than an ending. Nothing that cries out more for a blessing than when a world is falling apart. This blessing will not fix you, will not mend you, will not give you false comfort. It will not talk to you about one door opening when another one closes. It will simply sit itself beside you among the shards and gently turn your face toward the direction from which the light will come, gathering itself about you as the world begins again. That was written by Jan Richardson from Circle of Grace, a book of blessings for the seasons. Too many times, I hate to confess this, but too many times I have been called up in the evening or in the middle of the morning, sometimes even in the middle of the night, with someone on the end of the phone who is trying so hard to hold it all together, someone who is reaching out for me reaching out to me to ask for something that they don't know even what it is they're asking for. And I have tried to reach back, not knowing what it is I'm offering. And all too often, I offer platitudes. I'm not proud of that. I offer what I have to offer, and sometimes that offer is something that isn't needed. Sometimes we think we want to hear the words that everything will be okay, that when one door opens, another closes, when one door closes, another opens. Sometimes it's the other way. Quite often, I think that's what we want to hear. We say to ourselves, I'm going to call someone, I'm going to call my friend, I'm going to call my sister, I'm going to pray that God will make me feel better, that something will miraculously change the circumstances that I am living in, and everything will just be okay. I think that's what we think we want. I think, though, also, that in moments like those, what we need, and maybe even what our heart truly wants, is not a quick fix. It's not a platitude. It's not an everything's going to be okay, there, attaboy, pat on the back kind of response. I think sometimes what our heart needs, what we really truly desire, is permission to simply dwell. To dwell in the ache. To be present to the pain. To be aware of the despair. If God never intended for us to feel those things, we never would be able to. But we do. Our heart breaks when our children's hearts break. Our lives feel shattered when someone dies. We wonder if it's all worth it when a spouse leaves. We wonder, how do we get through the next moments, let alone the next day or week or month or year, when we have been diagnosed with something that we'd only heard of for other people. We question, where do our beliefs come from, and what good are they when we watch the world around us falling and imploding and wondering, what the hell? Maybe what we need to realize is that God is present with us in these things. Jesus came to bring hope and peace, but he also came to bring comfort and presence. And comfort doesn't always look like an answer. Sometimes comfort is more about being attentive, being present, being alongside. I'd like to share with you a passage from the Gospel of John. John chapter 11. Beginning at beginning at chapter 21. This is the story of Lazarus' death. Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask of him." Jesus said to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this?" She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world." When she had said this, she went back and called her sister Mary and told her privately, "The teacher is here and is calling for you." And when she heard it, she got up quickly and went to him. Now Jesus had not yet come to the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews were with her in the house, consoling her. So he saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought that she was going to the tomb to weep there. When Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said to him, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He said, "Where have you laid him?" They said to him, "Lord, come and see." Jesus began to weep. Now we know what happens in that story. We know that Jesus goes to the tomb and calls Lazarus out, and Lazarus emerges from the tomb from 4 days of having been dead. But place yourself in that scene. Be Mary or Martha before Jesus calls Lazarus, and live for that moment, because we don't know how long that moment lasted. When Jesus wept, when Mary was angry, "If you had been here, my brother would not have died." And Jesus' response was to weep. Last night, Rob found out that his great uncle, Uncle Ken, and the father of Rob's very best friend, Blaine, has died. He's died during COVID, not of COVID. But he's died in an area in Ontario that is locked down, where they can't have a funeral, where his Uncle Ken's son wasn't even able to come in and see him, his other son, before all this happened. And Blaine has the right to ask, where is God in all this? God is present. God is present in the form of Jesus standing beside him and weeping. All of us, right now, wherever we are, whether we are worried about what's happened in the States, whether we're concerned for our family, our communities, the number of people who have contracted COVID, the number of people who are sick with other things that are sort of being bypassed because of COVID. There are very few people, I think, right now that are able to sit back and say, "Hey, what's the problem? There's nothing going on. It's all good." We are invited to sit and lament. We are invited to be frustrated. We are invited to share with God how angry we are, or how sad, or how worried we are. Because God is a good God. God will say, "My child, I will sit with you." A new day will come. The sun will shine. The vaccines will work. We will beat this COVID. We will get back to normal. We will grieve those who have been lost. We will celebrate the births of those who will come. But in this moment, we need to acknowledge that it is okay to sit and be. And so to every person who has called me and I have offered platitudes, I apologize. And to every person who has shown me the truth, that sometimes we need to sit and be just exactly as we are, I thank you. So wherever you are today, whatever you are doing, take the time to just be, to feel what you are feeling, to invite God to answer your problems, to fix your problems, but invite God also to be present to you, and ask the Holy Spirit to help you recognize the ways that Jesus Christ is with you, and maybe even weeping beside you. Taking time to lament is a faithful and important part of the Christian journey. Without lament, there can be no rejoicing on a new day. So wherever you are and whatever you're feeling, be okay with that. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God sit beside you in whatever you are doing. And may you always know the presence of Christ in your life. Be safe. Wear your mask if you have to go out. Pray for those who are sick and those who care for them. And I'll see you Sunday with worship for the baptism of the Lord. And I'll be back with Church at Home on Monday morning. God bless everybody.